Hi folks, Chris Schmidt, Key West Makers. Today is a very exciting day in the shop, not only because I got a new Forest Woodworker 2 blade, and you woodworkers know what it's like when you get a new blade in that table saw. Ooh, love it. I am not sponsored, I don't get any money from Forest. I do like to share though the products that I use that I really like, and these Forest Woodworker 2 blades are the bomb. Can I still say the bomb? And also, I know a lot of you are excited because this is the video you've been waiting for several weeks, part 2 of the kitchen island build. Today we're going to cover the base, which I know sounds a bit boring, but I've been working on this method for a cabinet base or island base for quite some time, and I really love this method. I don't think I've seen anybody else doing it. It's super easy, creates a great platform for putting your cabinets on. Then we'll get all those carcasses that we made in part 1, and if you haven't seen that video, check it out here. We're going to get all those carcasses mounted up on the base, assembled, connected, and put the trim pieces on. We'll also get the granite top put out. I won't do it, somebody else will, but in classic Chris Schmidt fashion, I made a mistake when I ordered the top and did not put a hole in for the garbage disposal. So you'll see how I drilled a hole in that granite top to install the garbage disposal switch. And finally, we'll get started on those beautiful maple dovetail drawers. Let's get to it. So the island is just a series of cabinets, and one of the decisions you have to make when you're building your cabinets is, are you going to build the mount for the kick plate into the cabinet sides and just notched out, or whether you want to make the base separate, so you make the carcasses separate, then make a base to set the cabinets on. I'm using the second method, which I really like in general because it allows me to get the entire base installed and leveled and then put the cabinets on. And also I'm using that furniture look with sort of legs on the cabinets. So I want that toe kick set back not only on the front of the cabinets, but also on the ends of the cabinets. The base has to be high enough that it is supporting the cabinet, not the legs that are integrated into the face frame. Also remember that the face frame is going to hang down below the base of the cabinet, so you need to take that into account when determining how wide to rip the pieces for the base. Then subtract about 1/4 inch to leave room for the legs that will level the base. In other words, the base itself is not going to sit on the floor. It will have little legs that hold it up to level it. With all the parts made, we can start assembling the base. You'll have the long front and back pieces, the right and left end pieces, and then you want a support in the middle anywhere 2 cabinets are joined together, or in my case, where you have a cabinet divider. You also need some smaller pieces that will act as legs that we'll use to level the base. So I'll lay out all the main pieces, drill some countersink holes, and assemble the unit with screws. You'll need 4 legs for each of the corners and 2 for each divider. I've already installed and leveled my base inside the house without filming, but I'll describe the process. Start out by using a level to determine the highest corner of the floor where the island will be. Then attach the first leg in that corner so that the base is exactly the perfect height to support the carcass. Attach that foot with 2 screws. Then set the base in place and use shims on the next corner to get it level. When it's level, screw in the foot, then remove the shims and move on to the next corner. Just work your way around the base. When all 4 corners are done, go back and screw in feet where the cross dividers are as well, and you should need to level those. Then check the whole thing for level once more, and you're ready to set the cabinets on top. With the carcass installed on the case, it's time to install the 3 back panels, which will eventually get trim strips over the joints. The farthest panel spans the gap where the dishwasher is and connects the 2 separate carcasses. On the backs of the cabinets, there is a groove in the base and the end panels to fit the back, so you just need to cut them, glue them, and nail them in place. At this point, the island is really taking shape. The ends and back of the island need to get trim strips around the edges, however, both to make it look better and to hide the screws that assembled the cabinet. The trim strips are from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick, depending on where they go. So I'll resaw thicker wood on the bandsaw and then run them through the planer to get them to the perfect thickness. Then they are cut to fit and glued and nailed in place with 23 gauge pin nails that you won't see when the cabinet's finished. In part 1, you saw the larger cabinet has one side, the exposed end, that is longer or deeper and supports the overhang of the countertop. That wing, if you will, needs to be beefed up to 1 inch thick, so I'll glue and clamp an extra panel on the inside. Then I cut and install some blocks to beef up the feet. Remember, the feet were built into the face frames, so they were 1.5 inches wide but only 3/4 of an inch deep. We want them to look as if they were made from 1.5 inch square piece of solid wood. Then it's ready for the quartz countertop. The slab is cut prior to arriving, but the sink and faucet cutouts are done on site. Then it's fit into place and attached with clear silicone. I was quite happy until I realized a few days later that there was no back wall to mount a switch for the garbage disposal, and that I'd have to install an air-activated switch on top of the counter. Luckily, the installers had left the sink cutout behind, so I was able to perfect my method before attempting to cut into the expensive countertop. There are 3 things to remember if you need to do this. First, create a pilot hole, just a small dimple in the quartz before switching to the hole cutting bit. The hole bit needs to be made for cutting stone. Once you start cutting, gyrate the drill in just really small circles a little bit. Stop frequently to make sure the bit isn't too hot. And most importantly, use lots of water, just flood it to lubricate and cool the cut. The final step here will be to make the drawers and the cabinet doors. I use maple wood and dovetailed joinery for the drawers. The drawers will use Blum undermount soft close slides, which I've used before and I really like, but they have some specific build requirements. I'll be using a Lay RTJ 400 dovetail jig to make the drawers, and there are an awful lot of details to cover, so I want to devote an entire video to that. So I'll leave you for now with some shots of the island with the drawers installed and the teaser of the drawer making going on down in the corner. Notice that the drawers are currently installed in the island with no fronts in them, just some temporary knobs. We'll get into all of that in part 3, so hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss it. And if you were inspired, educated, or entertained, please give the video a thumbs up. That's all for this week. Thanks so much for watching, folks. This is Chris Schmidt signing out from Key West.